Thank you to Birch Gold Group for sponsoring today's video.
There have been a number of times in history when paper money has completely lost its value with economic uncertainty and or political unrest. And historically, the safest place to put your money during these times is in gold.
And you can own gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account with the help of Birch Gold Group.
Birch Gold Group will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k, maybe from a previous job or a previous employer. They will help you convert that into an IRA with gold.
And the best part is you don't pay a penny out of pocket.
The one asset that has continuously held its value, regardless of what was happening in the world, is gold.
Visit birchgold.com/redpoppyranch to get your free info kit on gold today.
They'll hold your hand through the entire process.
Birch Gold has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of happy customers. Visit birchgold.com/redpoppyranch to get your free info kit on gold. Again, that's birchgold.com/redpoppyranch.
At this exact moment, we are stuck here at Red Poppy Ranch because the road has gotten so bad that there are sections of it that we cannot get our vehicles through it. And it's doing too much damage to both the road and the vehicles to attempt to drive through it. So the road is closed. We knew when we bought our land that the road was always going to be an issue, but this year's different. The road that goes up through our land is what's called an unmaintained county road. But the road also continues on to public land, which the public uses. When we bought our land, we knew the road was going to be mostly our responsibility. But over the last 8 years, the road has gotten used way more than it ever had before, and not just by the landowners. But after this winter, I don't know if this road has ever had the amount of water going down it that it currently has. I called the county road supervisor looking for a little bit of help with our situation up here. He made it very clear that we were on our own. He said we can't do anything on that road that we wouldn't do anywhere else in the county. So even though it is a public road to public land, it's closed, because if you tried to drive through the bad spot in the road right now, you'd sink to your mirrors. About a month and a half ago, there was a snowmobiler that got stranded up above our property on this public land, and search and rescue had to use this same road to get into the public land and rescue this stranded snowmobiler. In the last 8 years that we've owned this land, search and rescue as well as our local sheriff's department has been up here many times. And at this moment, again, the road's closed. By the way, it's finally time to start hanging drywall in the shop. I do have enough drywall and the drywall lift up here to keep working. So for the next week, that's probably all I'm going to do. I have a 16-foot lift that'll be here hopefully in just a day or two. I don't want to try and lift any higher than that by myself, so I'm going to wait for that lift. And I can tell already this one's going to make me work a little bit, but I'm excited to see what it's going to look like. All right, this is what I got to get done today. Blocking for this back wall. Because of all the stuff that was against the back wall, I didn't get any blocking put in back there. I want to put one more outlet right in the center of the shop in case I want to have a drop-down light. I still have to put the outlet in the floor that the inspector asked me to do. And then I have to put a designated outlet for the water heater. I put the water heater on the bathroom circuit, and you're not supposed to have, even though it is a tankless water heater, you're not supposed to have anything on the bathroom circuit. So I got to have a designated circuit for the water heater, and then all of the walls can be buttoned up. It used to be, before anybody was living full-time up our canyon, it used to be that the road that led all the way up to this public land didn't get used for probably 5 months out of the year while there was snow on the ground because nobody plowed it. Once I started plowing it, people started using it. It's that simple, and you guys watched what happened from that point on. We wore out plow trucks and broke equipment, keeping the road open, and more people continued to use it. I guess I'm a little bit perturbed because I was hoping that the county road supervisor would recognize that it's more than the landowners that are wearing the road out. I was hoping that he'd offer a few loads of gravel down at the bottom of our road, that we could somehow get up here and prevent what has ultimately happened. But he didn't even call me back. Okay, before I start hanging drywall down here, the electrical inspector asked me to install a floor outlet and an outlet on the wall. So real quickly, I'm going to drill the floor joist, pull that wire, just rough in for it real quick, and then I can come back to the floor outlet. Then I can go ahead and get drywall hung. When I originally had the electrical inspection, the inspector made it clear that I needed to have an outlet right here on the edge of the loft, as well as a floor outlet down by the stairs. As far as the road is concerned, all we can do is wait for it to dry out. And then I'm going to buy a dump truck, and then we'll continue doing what we've done with every other bad spot in the road. We'll put gravel on it and maintain it. But in the future, we're going to have to keep a couple of extra loads of gravel around just to prevent things like this from happening again. I took one of my scrap pieces of plywood and I ripped about a 2-inch by, it's probably 1/2-inch piece to basically work as the shim. So I'm putting this down underneath all the drywall so there's no drywall touching the concrete, but what that's also doing is it's making it almost exactly 14 feet to the top rafter. Minus the 2-foot stem, it's exactly 14 feet and 1/2 inch. So by getting that down at the bottom, I should be able to save some drywall and it should go up in bigger sheets. But the other issue is I bought 10-foot sheets with the intention of putting them on the ceiling because the rafters are at 2 foot on center, but my lift is not here yet to get it on the ceiling. And so I'm kind of stuck with them to do something until that lift shows up. So I'm going to keep using them, although every time I use one, I have anywhere from about an 8-inch piece of leftover scrap to as much as a 12-inch piece, but I can use those pieces around the windows. And I have another 60 sheets of the 8-footers waiting for me to come get them, but the road is so bad right now, I'm just going to use these 10-footers and get as far as I can. The very first time I brought my lovely wife up here to see this property was in mid-April. That's one of our very, very first videos. We knew the road was going to be an issue, and we came to grips with that. This year, because of the extreme weather, and again because the road gets used way more than it used to, I was hoping to get a little help from the county, but I was wrong. Either way, we're not going anywhere. I managed to get 50 sheets of 4x10 drywall up here before the road completely failed, but this was supposed to be just for the ceiling. I have another 40 sheets waiting for me, but it's going to be a minute before I can get them up here, so I'm going to see how far I can get with these 10-footers. By the way, in case you didn't know, a 10-foot sheet of drywall does not land on a stud at 16 on center. Trusses on the roof are set at 2 foot on center. So at this moment, we can do nothing more than wait for the road to dry out. And the irony is the majority of the road is fine. It's simply that one bad spot. But boy, that one bad spot decided to give out and give out completely. Once it dries out, we'll put more gravel around it and try to prevent something like this from happening in the future. But more than anything, I'll be a little bit more prepared next time something like this starts to happen. In the meantime, I'm going to hang the drywall. But in order for me to hang the drywall on the shop, I need a lift that can get up to 16 feet high. I used a lift when I built the house, but that lift only went up to about 11 feet, if I remember correctly. I ordered a fairly inexpensive 16-foot drywall lift off the internet, and it managed to show up again right before the road failed. The 16-foot manual drywall lift has arrived to the party. I nearly rented a drywall lift from one of our local rental shops, but for the cost of this thing, it actually saved me money to buy it. This is going to be the slowest ever, but...
It's better than hurting your back.
Oh, it's going to hurt my back. Holding that drill over my head. But I wasn't even sure if it was going to get it up there, so I'm just happy it works.
Yeah.
You got it? Yes. You want to let the dogs inside? There you go. Yeah, I should probably screw that off, actually. I worked late last night using that new lift, getting 2 sheets on the ceiling. Basically, I just wanted to confirm that the lift was going to get it high enough and then it wasn't going to be a hazard doing it, I guess. But now my question is, can I use the lift to get the high pieces up on the walls? And I'm pretty sure I can. I did it on the house with a similar lift, so I'm fairly confident that I can do this. But I want to take a minute and get this corner hung and just kind of see how fast I can do this and how safe I can do this. But before I start hanging too many sheets of drywall on the ceiling, I need to get all of the lateral bracing finished in the attic in the shop. And the lateral bracing is pretty important. When I had the local inspector up last week to inspect the gas line, the very first thing he did was he looked up at my trusses and he asked how we did, because he knew that I knew that there had been a number of buildings around town collapse during our heavy winter. I told my inspector friend that I hadn't installed any of my lateral bracing, and I knew how important the lateral bracing was when it came to snow load. He recommended that I get it done, and get it done before I hang drywall, obviously. So I took some roughs on 2x6s to install as lateral bracing. When I originally set the trusses, I used strips of OSB to space it correctly, but that was not structural, and this is. Okay, so the bracing that I put down the center on both sides, that is to keep the trusses from twisting. And the lateral bracing up higher, the idea is to keep it from flexing and cracking the drywall. So now that I have the lateral bracing done, I'm trying to get anything and everything done that is keeping me from putting drywall on the ceiling. And I need to put an outlet over there for that shop heater. And then while I'm at it, I want to go ahead and put an outlet right in the center of the shop. And then now that all the bracing is done, I can start putting drywall on the ceiling. It's got to be over 100 degrees in the attic up there. It's probably 65 on the ground. It's got to be 100, 105 up there. Again, before I closed the walls up with drywall, I tried to think of any other electrical outlets I would need. And I wanted one in the center of the shop for a drop-down shop light, but I also needed to get one over to the shop heater. So on this circuit, I will only have the shop heater and this outlet that will probably not get used very often. On our next video, I hope that you get to see us driving down our road in our vehicles, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I am literally stranded up here right now. I couldn't leave in my red truck if my life depended on it, and that's the truth. That bad spot in the road is now so bad that we just need to give it time. And the only way that works is if nobody drives over it and if the water has someplace to go, but it's now raining. So I went down the list yesterday of every last little thing that needed to be done before I could close the ceiling up. So all the lateral bracing is done. I wanted to run one more outlet up here for a drop-down light. I ran the outlet for the furnace. I put one more outlet pointing out the back. That little spot back there where the diesel tank now sits, if it ever dries out, and if I ever have the chance to move the new propane tank over to the new property, the diesel tank's gonna go right next to it. And I think that porch area across the back of the shop is going to be perfect for parking four-wheelers under. So we didn't have any flooding in the shop. We didn't have any flooding inside the house. We have the issue with the hill around the house, but I think it's under control now. And the only way that bad section of road gets better is with the help of the sun. So as far as the drywall is now concerned, this is all the drywall I have up here. And it might be a good solid week before I can get another load of drywall up here. So I'm gonna try and make this go as far as I can make it go. And I'm excited. It's already brighter in here, and that's what I was hoping for. Getting rid of the dark walls and getting it, once it's all painted white, it should look really good in here. So.